close. I'm so close now. I'm closer than I've been, and it's making me crazy because I can smell it. It's in the air, and I smell it. Do you smell it? Because I smell it. I am close. I'm so close now. I'm closer than I've been, and it's making me crazy because I can smell it. It's in the air, and I smell it. Do you smell it? Because I smell it. I am close. I'm.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Endzone to Endzone. I'm your host, Ryan Neff. Unfortunately, my compatriot, Mike Fuji Fiordimando, he will not be with us tonight. Like I said earlier today, I think he's on assignment in Tibet, looking for sites that the Eagles could play on next year. So, going to be a short one tonight. We should return on this Sunday evening, another episode of Endzone to Endzone, as we recap week 3 and maybe look ahead to week 4. So let's just get into it. Last week, last Thursday night, the Bills, Dolphins. Unfortunately, Tua got hurt that game. The Bills were all over the Dolphins anyway. They jumped on them early. First quarter, it was 7-7. But then the Bills took hold in the second quarter. They were up 24-10 at the half. They scored a touchdown in the third. Miami fails to score in the second half. Bills win 31-10. Again, the big news was Tua suffering the concussion, and a lot of reports are he is going to weigh on his decision. But I've also seen where he has said he is not going to retire, which, at this point, you don't want the guy to become a vegetable. And he takes another solid hit. You don't want to see him in a wheelchair. You don't want to see him lose function. So I know they've put him on the IR, which he's going to have a month to think about it. I'm sure the doctors will provide him with all the information. His family, his friends will weigh in on it. And let's just hope that, for his sake, he makes the right decision. We go to the stats. Josh Allen, pedestrian, 13 of 19, 139 yards and a touch. James Cook rushing 11 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. The leading receiver was Kahil Shakir, 5 catches, 54 yards. On the flip side, again, Tua had a rough outing anyway before the concussion. He was 17 of 25, 145 yards, a touch, and 3 picks. Skylar Thompson came in, again, pedestrian, 8 of 14, 80 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Devin Achane, leading rusher, 22 carries, 96 yards. He was also the leading receiver. 7 catches, 69 yards, and a touch. Josh Allen was not sacked. Miami had quarterbacks were sacked twice. If you go to the team stats, third down efficiency, Bills were just 3 of 9. Miami was 7 of 15, but they had to go for it being down. Miami turned the ball over 3 times. Buffalo did not turn it over. And again, you pray that Tua will weigh all his options. Because again, you don't want to see him. You just want him to have good quality of life at this point. And this is like his 4th concussion in the last 3-4 years. So again, again, he has a month to think about it. Again, competitor in you wants to go on, wants to keep battling, but sometimes your body just says, dude, do this. Can't do it anymore, man. You might want to think about hanging it up. Let's find something else to do. Your body says to you at points. So again, hopefully he makes the right decision. And I'm just going to go down these in sequential order from when they were played. The Saints put an ass whooping on the Cowboys, 44-19. It was over at the half, ladies and gentlemen. It was 35-16 at the half. But let's be honest, they were never in the game. They got their ass kicked. Let's not mince words. Ass kicked. So all the Cowboys fans across the nation who thought, hey man, we're good to go after beating the Browns. Look, the Browns are not a bad team, but Cowboy fans saw this in the NFC divisional round last year against the Packers. They just sucked. They were horrible. Saints did a lot of the things that the Packers did. Cowboys couldn't handle it. It was bad. I said in my picks 3 weeks ago that I did not have the Cowboys in the playoffs. I still feel that way. They lack a running game, and they only have CeeDee Lamb as a receiver. If you want to throw in some other guys in there, you're fooling yourself. This was pause for the cause. This is alarming. I was waiting for something like this to happen. Did I think it would happen against the Saints? No. Do I think the Saints are that much or exponentially better than the Cowboys? I don't know. But they sure look like it Sunday. So we go to the stats. Derek Carr, again, pedestrian. 11 of 16, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Look, New Orleans ran the ball 39 times for 190 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dallas could not stop the run. It was pathetic. It was brutal. Alvin Kamara, your leading rusher, 20 carries, 115 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 3 touchdowns. The leading receiver, Rashid Shaheed, 4 catches, 96 yards, and a touch. Chris Olave attributed 4 catches, 81 yards. Alvin Kamara, 2 touches for 65 yards and a touchdown. On the flip side of the equation, Dak Prescott doing Dak Prescott things. 27 of 39, 293, a touchdown, 2 picks. The leading rusher is Rico Dowdy, 7 carries, 30 yards. The Cowboys collectively ran it 21 times for 68 damn yards. That's horrible. Again, they had to play from behind. They had to put the ball up. But still, 21 rushes for 68 damn yards. CeeDee Lamb, your leading receiver, 4 catches, 90 yards and a touch. Jalen Tolbert contributed 6 catches for 82 yards. Luke Schoonmaker, 6 catches for 43 yards. Dak Prescott also fumbled the ball, but he didn't lose it. Dak was sacked 3 times. Derek Carr only once. If you want to go to the team stats, New Orleans was 5 of 8 on third downs. Dallas was 6 of 13. Again, 190 rush yards for New Orleans, 68 for the Cowboys. So again, ass whooping. If you're a Saints fan, you've got a lot to like. If you're a Cowboys fan, not so much. And as a former Cowboys fan, again, I won't get into it until Jerry Jones is gone from the equation. I can't do it. I said that 11 years ago. I say it today. But Cowboys fans have seen this song over and over and over and over again for the last 20 some odd years. 26. And I've said before, as a Dallas fan, if you want to pay the money to keep going to the games, to see the same thing over and over, that's the definition of insanity. Doing something over and over again and expecting the same result. That's all I'm going to say. Because what you saw on Sunday, get used to it. The Buccaneers, ladies and gentlemen, went into Detroit. Beat the Lions 20-16. Really a defensive game throughout. There was nothing spectacular about the game. It was just sort of like smash mouth football. Again, it was nip and tuck the whole way. You know, the Buccaneers had the game in control. Detroit sort of made a little bit of a push, but to no avail. We go to the stats. Baker Mayfield, again, pedestrian quarterback play on Sunday for the most part. 12 and 19, 185 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He was sacked 5 times. And you still won the game. Leading rusher was Baker. 5 carries, 34 yards, and a touchdown. They sort of completely abandoned the running game. Collectively, they ran the ball 23 times for 70 yards. Your leading receiver, Chris Godwin, had a good day, as Mike Evans was seeing a lot of double teams. 7 catches, 117 yards, and a touch. Baker fumbled it twice, but he didn't lose any. Detroit, I said this before, I'll say it again. Detroit will go as Jared Goff goes. He put up the ball 55 times. You can't expect to win a lot of football games throwing it 55 damn times. He was 34 of 55 for 307 yards, no touchdowns and 2 picks. Again, turnovers. When he gets nervy in the pocket and he feels like he has to do too much, just like Baker, he gets himself in trouble. Your leading rusher was Jahmyr Gibbs, 13 carries, 84 yards. But they sort of got away from it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Goff was not sacked. And yet Tampa Bay still won the game. Leading receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 catches, 119 yards. No receivers had any touchdowns. Jamison Williams, a nice little surprise, 5 catches, 79 yards. Detroit did not fumble the ball. We go to the team stats. Again, Detroit with the 2 turnovers, Tampa Bay with only 1. Tampa Bay was 2 of 10 on third downs, ladies and gentlemen. Detroit was 7 of 17. And yet Tampa Bay still won the game. Bend, don't break. I mean, in every category, Detroit was better on paper. But 2 turnovers will kill you. 2 interceptions killed them. So, you know, the Lions have a little bit of soul searching to do. Because, I mean, you are going to be one of the hunted teams this year. The Packers beat the Colts 16-10. Without Jordan Love, obviously. Kind of a boring game. Good game. It was nip and tuck, back and forth. Green Bay was up 10-0 at the half. Indianapolis sort of made a little push there in the end, but to no avail. And again, we go to the stats. Anthony Richardson, 17 of 34, 204 yards, touchdown, and 3 interceptions. I said, wait for the ugly hair to rear itself. This is exactly what Anthony Richardson did at Florida. Excuse me. He is inconsistent. Got a hell of an arm, but he's just too inconsistent. Does stupid stuff. Throws it into double coverage a lot. Thinks he can make play after play after play. Not there. So the 3 turnovers really hurt. Leading rusher was Jonathan Taylor, who had a good day, 12 carries, 103 yards. Alec Pierce was the leading receiver, 5 catches, 56 yards, and a touch. Michael Pittman, the number 1 receiver, 3 catches, 21 yards. It's not going to cut it. Green Bay, Malik Willis, efficient. 12 of 14, 122 yards and a touchdown, but he didn't turn it over, which was good. Josh Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen, went off. 32 carries, 151 yards. Green Bay controlled the clock. They ran the damn ball 53 times for 261 yards. That's the way to win a football game. Limited opportunities for the other offense. Give your defense a rest. Now, again, they only won by 6, but a win's a win. They only threw the ball 14 times because Indianapolis could not stop the run. Leading receiver, Romeo Doubs, 3 catches, 62 yards. We go to the team stats. Third down efficiency, Indianapolis was only 2 of 9. The Colts were 10 of 17. Green Bay, ladies and gentlemen, had the ball 40 minutes. Again, run the football, control time of possession, limit the opportunities. You should be close to winning the game or actually winning the game. Again, Anthony Richardson with the 3 interceptions, which is really, to me, the difference in the game. But again, when you run the ball 53 times for 260, you're going to win a football game. So, nice little win there for Green Bay. The Jets took down the Titans. This was a close game throughout. Actually, kind of an exciting game. I like defensive struggles. Well, not defensive struggles, but 24-17 games, 28-24. The Jets get the first W. Titans fall to 0-2. If anybody saw Will Levis's attempt to lateral the football, that's one for the Keystone Cops music. That's one for the blooper reel. Will Levis is not having a good start to the season, to be quite honest with you. We go to the stats. Aaron Rodgers, again, efficient, 18 of 30, 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall, your leading rusher, 14 carries, 62 yards. Your leading receiver was Garrett Wilson, 4 receptions for 57 yards. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen both caught a touchdown pass. No turnovers by the Jets. On the flip side, Tennessee, Will Levis, 19 of 28, 192 yards, a touchdown, interception. He was sacked 4 times. Leading rusher, Tony Pollard, 17 catches, 62 yards. Calvin Ridley was your leading receiver for the Titans, 4 catches, 77 yards and a touchdown. Not only did Will Levis throw the interception, he also fumbled it. We go to the team stats overall. Both teams were kind of not that great on third down. They were both 5 for 12 on third downs. Again, the Jets, no turnovers. The 2 turnovers by Will Levis seem to sort of play the difference. And again, good for the Jets to get the first win under Aaron Rodgers. And now we see where it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vikings beat the 49ers in one of the surprises of the day. For some odd reason, Minnesota always gives San Francisco fits. Not sure if it's the scheme, if they know what to expect. It was close at the half. Minnesota pulled away a little bit. San Francisco sort of mounted a comeback, but Minnesota held on. Go to the stats. Brock Purdy, 28 of 36, 319 yards, a touch, and an interception. Touchdown. Jordan Mason continues to surprise in place of Christian McCaffrey. He ran the ball 20 times for 100 yards and a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, who I believe is now hurt, unfortunately. 8 catches, 110 yards. George Kittle contributed 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. The Vikings. Oh, Brock Purdy was sacked 6 times for 25 yards. I thought Minnesota's defense would struggle this year. San Francisco's offensive line looked putrid, to be honest with you. Anybody who watched that game. It was not good. Sam Darnold for the Vikings was 17 to 26, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tyson Chandler was the surprise rushing leader for Minnesota. 10 carries, 82 yards. Justin Jefferson, before he got hurt, which is a shame. I hope he's okay. Went off for 4 catches, 133 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Naylor also contributed with a touchdown. Minnesota fumbled the ball 3 times. They only lost it once. Sam Darnold fumbled it twice. Aaron Jones fumbled it. He lost that fumble. Aaron Jones sort of still trying to find his groove with the offense, maybe. Really slow start to the season. We go to the team stats. San Francisco was just horrendous on third down. They were 2 of 10. Minnesota was 7 of 12. I mean, San Francisco had the ball 9 more minutes, but again, turnovers. They both turned it over twice, so it sort of equaled out. The Vikings were just, I think, a little bit better in the run game. But again, Brock Purdy was sacked 6 times, which, again, that offensive line and pass protection just absolutely sucked out loud. It was bad. The Seahawks. This was a tough little gritty game. Beat the Patriots 23-20. The Seahawks now 2-0 on the season. Again, it was nip and tuck throughout, to be quite honest with you. We were watching it. Stats: Geno Smith, 33 of 44, 327 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. Leading rusher was Zach Charbonnet at 14 carries, 38 yards. DJ Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba went off. DK Metcalf with 10 catches, 129 yards, a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 12 catches, 117 yards. They did not turn the ball over. The Patriots, Jacoby Brissett, 15 to 27, 149 yards and a touchdown. Antonio Gibson, 11 carries, 96 yards. Ramondre Stevenson with 21 carries, 81 yards and a touch. Hunter Henry was your leading New England receiver at 8 catches for 109 yards. The rest of the receiving corps just absolutely smelled. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled it once, didn't lose the fumble. We go to the team stats. Both teams pretty evenly on the third down efficiency. Again, no turnovers between them. Again, it was a hard-fought game. But, when you look at the stats, to be honest with you, I mean, New England should have won the game. Seattle only had 46 yards rushing on 19 attempts. I mean, New England quadrupled them in rushing. 36 carries, 185 yards. It just turned out to be Seattle's day. So, like the Cookie Monster said, C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. The next game, the Commanders beat the Giants, the lowly Giants. Again, this was a field goal fest. anybody who watched it. Commanders won 21-18. Again, kind of a snooze field goal fest. Commanders won it on a late second field goal. You knew it was going to come down to like a last possession. Daniel Jones actually played well. He was 16 of 28, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The leading rusher was Devin Singletary for the Giants, 16 carries, 95 yards and a touch. Leading receiver Malik Neighbors, coming out party, 10 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Singletary fumbled it once, lost it once. Jaden Daniels, again, efficient, 23 of 29, 226 yards, no picks, no touchdowns. Brian Robinson went off, 17 carries, 133 yards. Collectively, Washington ran it 35 times for 215 yards. Zach Ertz was their leading receiver at 4 catches for 62 yards. Washington did not turn it over. Both teams were 50% on third downs. Again, when you can run the football, Washington ran it 35 times for 215 yards. Again, ground control, limit the opportunities. We say it over and over again. Washington had it 15 more minutes than the Giants. So Washington with their first win, and the Giants still looking for that W. The Los Angeles Superchargers just kicked the shit out of the Panthers. Panthers are just woeful. Bryce Young's been benched. But look, I was not high on Bryce Young coming out of college. He had a fantastic Alabama team around him when they won the national title. They're just not a good football team. They just don't have the pieces, to be quite honest with you. Now, look, maybe the red-headed rifle, the red-headed rocket, Andy Dalton, can come in and save the day. I don't know. Justin Herbert for the Chargers was 14 of 20, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns and a pick. Again, Jim Harbaugh's offense is predicated on pounding the football, which they did, ladies and gentlemen. J.K. Dobbins carried it 17 times. Gus Edwards carried it 18 times. J.K. was 17 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Leading receiver was Quentin Johnson, 5 carries, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns. But again, when you can run the ball 44 times for 219 yards, you're going to win a football game. This is taking the pressure off of Justin Herbert because, to be honest with you, when you look at Los Angeles's receiving core, nobody scares you. Unfortunately for Bryce Young, 18 of 26, only 84 yards and a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard was your leading rusher for them, 10 carries, 64 yards. Leading receiver was Tommy Tremble, 3 catches, 23 yards. Again, it was just a horrific performance. By the Panthers yet again. So Carolina was 1 of 12 on third downs. They were outrushed almost 3-1. Again, Chargers 44 carries, 219 yards. The Panthers 18 carries, 90 yards. That's all you need to know about how that game went. The Browns, with a gritty performance against the Jaguars. Again, I did not have the Jaguars making the playoffs. Most of the quarterbacks who got their money have stunk out loud. It was nip and tuck throughout, but the Browns prevail. Deshaun Watson was 22 of 34, 186 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Jerome Ford was the leading receiver, or the leading rusher for the Browns, 7 carries, 64 yards. Jerry Jeudy was the leading receiver, 5 catches, 73 yards. On the flip side, Trevor Lawrence, 14 of 30, 220 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. Leading rusher was Travis Etienne, 13 carries, 52 yards and a touch. Leading receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., 2 catches, 94 yards. Again, it was a defensive battle throughout. Both teams were horrid on third downs, just bad. Neither team turned the ball over. Again, it was really nip and tuck throughout. The Browns went for it on 4th down 3 times, and they picked it up 3 times. So, taking some chances. So, the Browns 1-1. The Jaguars still looking for their first win. How about them Raiders taking out the Ravens? The powerhouse Ravens that were supposed to be a powerhouse. Raiders with the gutsy performance. Again, nip and tuck throughout. You were waiting for the Ravens to pull it out, and it just never happened. As we go to the stats, the men's stash, Gardner Minshew, was 30 of 38, 276 yards, a touchdown, an interception that really was not on him. Zamir White was the leading rusher at 9 carries for 24 yards. Ladies and gentlemen, Las Vegas rushed it 17 times for 27 yards. And they still won the game. Leading receiver was Devontae Adams. 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Brock Bowers, the rookie tight end, 9 catches, 98 yards. They did not turn the ball over. Lamar Jackson was 21 of 34, 247 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Having Lamar throw it 34 times is not going to win you games. Derrick Henry was your leading rusher at 18 carries for 84 yards and a touch. Zay Flowers was your leading receiver, 7 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew was sacked 5 times. Again, you see it on paper. The Ravens shouldn't have lost the game, but they did. Passing yards were dead even almost. Ravens ran the ball 27 times, 151 yards. Yeah, they both turned the ball over once apiece. My bad. Everything pointed to the Raiders winning the game. Just the Raiders made more plays. So Baltimore drops to 0-2. Now think about this. The Steelers are 2-0. Who would have thunk it? The Bengals are 0-2. The Ravens are 0-2. And the Browns are 1-1. Who knew? The Cardinals put an ass whooping on the Rams. Didn't see that one coming, to be honest with you. They were bludgeoned to death, really. It wasn't even close. Matthew Stafford for the Rams, 19 of 27, 216 yards. He was sacked 5 times. Leading rusher was Corum and Williams. They only ran the ball 20 times for 53 yards. Leading receiver was Demarcus Robinson, 2 catches, 50 yards. It was just bad. It was bad. The Rams looked bad. Kyler Murray had a good day, 17 of 21, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Conner went off, 21 carries, 122 yards and a touch. Marvin Harrison Jr. finally had his breakout, 4 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let's go to the team stats as I take a sip of my beverage. Hydration. The Cardinals were 7 of 11. on third downs. Rams were 2 of 11. Both turned the ball over once. Difference in the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Rams ran it 20 times for 53 yards. Cardinals, 40 carries for 231 yards. Do you see a theme here? You can't run the football. You're not going to win games. I know the NFL and everybody puts onus on the quarterbacks in the passing game. You have to be able to control the clock. But you're not going to win, especially when it comes to December and January. These Steelers, with a barn burner over the Broncos, 13-6. It was really a boring game. A lot of defense. Justin Fields for the Steelers was 13 of 20, 117 yards and a touchdown, which they're not asking him to do a lot. Najee Harris was the leading rusher, 17 carries, 69 yards for the Steelers. Leading receiver, Pat Freiermuth, tight end, 4 catches, 39 yards for the Steelers. Okay, I'm going to say this again. You see a theme here. Pittsburgh ran it 36 times for 141 yards. Flip side, Bo Nix, 20 of 35, 246 yards, 2 picks. Turnovers kill, ladies and gentlemen. Bo Nix was the leading rusher, 4 carries, 25 yards. Collectively, they carried it 19 carries for 64 yards. Leading receiver, Josh Reynolds, did have a nice day, 4 catches, 93 yards. But again, Pittsburgh, 36 carries, 141 yards. Broncos, 19 for 64. And, of course, Bo Nix threw the 2 interceptions, and turnovers kill. Both teams sucked on third down. And, again, the turnovers were kind of the story. On to the next game. The Chiefs beat the Bengals. The Bengals are not afraid to play the Chiefs anywhere. Bengals should have won the game. They played well enough to win. Everybody is talking about the missed hands to the face on the play previous to the pass interference. And I'll just say this. If you break a game film down, you could probably call a penalty on every play. Period. People say, well, it really wasn't pass interference. He got there early. If you want to bring up the hands to the face, I get it. They missed it. But think about all the other calls throughout the game that they miss. Joe Burrow, 23 of 36, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cincinnati could not run the ball. Zach Moss, 12 carries, 34 yards. Leading receiver was Mike Gesicki, 7 carries, 91 yards. They sort of kept Jamar Chase in check. He only had 4 receptions for 35 yards. Burrow and Drew Sample fumbled it 3 times collectively. They only lost 1 of the fumbles. Patrick Mahomes, not a Patrick Mahomes-like game. 18 of 25, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, which really kept Cincinnati in the game. Isaiah Pacheco, who's now hurt, unfortunately, that's a big blow. 19 carries, 90 yards. Rashee Rice, your leading receiver, 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. But again, Cincinnati only ran it 22 times for 74 yards. Kansas City, 32 for 149. But Patrick kept them in the game with the 2 turnovers. So Cincinnati's still looking for their first win. I still think they make the playoffs. Bears-Texans, another boring game. Defensive battle. Both defenses are no joke. Caleb Williams, again, was not sold on him coming out of college. 23 of 37, 174 yards, 2 interceptions. He was the leading receiver at 5 carries for 44 yards. DJ Moore, the leading receiver for the Bears, 6 catches, 53 yards. CJ Stroud at 23 of 36, 260 yards and a touchdown. Leading rusher was Cam Akers, 7 carries, 32 yards. Nico Collins went off receiving, 8 catches, 135 yards and a touchdown. Caleb Williams was sacked 7 times, ladies and gentlemen. 7 damn times. Where's your offensive line, man? But he holds on to the ball way too long. Again, both teams just played horribly. It was even throughout, but, Texans come away with the W. And they are a full 2 games up on everybody else in the division now. And then Monday night, the Falcons beat the Eagles. People talking about, if you want to blame Nick Sirianni all you want to, you got to catch the damn football, Saquon. They brought you there for a reason. You can't drop the football. The Falcons quiet some of the noise. Kirk Cousins, 20 of 29, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Bijan Robinson was the leading rusher for the Falcons, 14 carries, 97 yards. Leading receiver for them, Darnell Mooney, 3 catches, 88 yards and a touch. Jalen Hurts still does not look like Jalen Hurts. He was 23 of 30, 183 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Saquon, the leading rusher for them, 22 carries, 95 yards. A.J. Brown did not play, which I thought hurt. Devontae Smith, 7 catches, 76 yards, and a touch. Both offensive lines played well. Again, the one Eagles turnover kind of hurt, but you still have to catch the ball. I thought it was an equal game. So we go on to week number 3. I'll make my picks here. Tomorrow's the Patriots at the Jets. I believe whoever controls the ball running the football and limits the turnovers will win this football game. I think it'll be evenly matched up until the 4th quarter. But I think in the end, I think the Jets just are better on both sides of the ball. Jets are favored by 6. I think it might be closer than that. I'm going to go Jets 27, Patriots 23. Then on Sunday, on Fox at 1 o'clock, the Browns host the Giants. Cleveland's favored by 6.5. Giants played better last week. Again, Giants don't have a running game. The Browns can lean on a couple people. Again, probably be close, just like the Jets Patriots. I'll go Browns 24, Giants 20. The Titans host the Packers. Tennessee's favored by 1.5. Tennessee 0-2. Packers are 1-1. Something smells here. Something really smells here. Steel City Renegades, I put in my picks today. I believe I took Green Bay. Packers need to get Josh Jacobs going. I think this is an evenly matched game. You could call it a pick 'em. But I'm going to go with the Packers to win this one. Packers 26, Titans 23. Bears Colts. Again, this is a pick 'em game. Indy's favored by 1 point. 2 quarterbacks right now I don't trust. The Bears are going to have to lean on their running game. Colts still have Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to go Colts 21, Bears 17. Battle of Unbeatens at 1 o'clock on CBS. This could be one of the games of the week. Texans travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Houston's favored by 2. I just think the Texans overall are a better team. I think the Vikings are probably going to surprise people this year. I think both defenses are no joke. This could be one of those defensive struggles. I think on the offensive side of the ball, Texans are just a little bit better. I'm going to go Texans 27, Vikings 24. Eagles travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. New Orleans favored by 2.5. And the Eagles just don't look right to me. I think A.J. Brown might be out again. These are the types of games in the last couple of years that the Eagles would have won. But Saints might be one of those surprise teams. I didn't have the Saints making the playoffs. I'm going to go Saints. I'm going to go Saints 26, Eagles 21. Another battle of unbeatens. Who would have thought? The Chargers and Steelers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 1.5. Both defenses playing well. Justin Fields playing well. Steelers defense again at home. I think the Chargers make a game of it. But Acrisure Stadium will be rocking. Steelers 24, Chargers 20. The Broncos travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. The Broncos just look awful. I know some people will probably hop on the Broncos. Buccaneers too overconfident. The spread's only 6.5, but I don't see it. I just think the Buccaneers are going to roll. I'm going to go Buccaneers 30, Broncos 17. 0-2 Panthers with now Sam Darnold quarterback goes to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Spread Las Vegas by 5. The Panthers are just a mess. I don't see it. I'm at Raiders 31, Panthers 14. The Dolphins travel to Seattle. Seattle favored by 4. Miami's a little bit of in disarray right now. Skylar Thompson is the quarterback. Don't see it. Seahawks playing well. Seahawks 28, Dolphins 14. The 0-2 Ravens travel to Dallas. Baltimore's favored by 1 point. Ravens are going to be the more desperate team. I think the Cowboys are a little bit of a soul-searching mode. I don't see the Cowboys winning it. I picked the Ravens. Ravens 27, Cowboys 24. The 49ers travel to the Rams, who again, just injury-riddled. San Francisco by 7. I get it. The Rams have had their number. Forget it. San Francisco 27, Rams 14. Lions travel to Arizona. Detroit favored by 3. Cardinals playing better. Lions with an iffy loss last week. I want to take Arizona, but I just think the Lions will pull it out. I'm going to go Detroit 26, Arizona 23. The Chiefs travel to Atlanta for Sunday night. Chiefs favored by 3.5. I'm going to be safe to say the Chiefs may struggle for a half. The place will be rocking. Chiefs coming into town. But I think in the end, the Chiefs pull away. I'm going to say Chiefs 27, Falcons 21. And on Monday, there are 2 Monday Night Football games, which is stupid. The Jags at the Bills at 7:30. I think the Jags play better. I just see something bad with the Jags. I just think the Bills will pull away in the second half, so I'm going to go Bills 28, Jaguars 17. And the Commanders travel to Cincinnati. Cincinnati favored by 7.5. I think this is where this is the get right game for the Bengals. I'm going to go Bengals 30, Commanders 16. So there you have my picks. Some news and notes from the NFL before I sign off here. The Panthers have come out and said they're not considering trading Bench Young. When someone comes out and says they're not considering it, they're considering it. So keep an eye on that. Jordan Love's returned to practice. They say he may play Sunday. Bad idea. Just letting you know. Eli Manning headlines the 16 first-time Hall of Fame nominees. The other nominees, first-time candidates, lineman Travis Frederick, Ryan Khalil, and Joe Staley. Running backs Marshawn Lynch and Darren Sproles. Receiver Demaryius Thomas. Tight ends Vernon Davis and Delaney Walker. And defensive backs Antoine Bethea, Aqib Talib, and Earl Thomas. Cooper Kupp will not require ankle procedure. No IR for now. Trying to look for some other news and notes. Not seeing anything really. So again, enjoy the NFL games this weekend. Friday, I will be back on StreamYard and YouTube at 2 p.m. With the line of scrimmage to go over. There's games on tomorrow, but if I can get on tomorrow, I've got things to do. But if I can get on tomorrow to do the show, I will do it. My game of the week. I know people's will be Tennessee and Oklahoma, because Tennessee's ranked 7th, Oklahoma's 15th. But I, ladies and gentlemen, will flip that. My game of the week is actually going to be a Big 12 matchup between Utah and Oklahoma State. And you'll have to tune in to see which team gets the finger. This is my tribute to Lee Corso every week, who does the headgear. I figured I would do a segment called Who Gets the Finger for the game of the week on my end. Again, enjoy the games. Stay safe out there. I will see everybody maybe tomorrow night, but definitely Friday, if not tomorrow night, for the line of scrimmage here on StreamYard and YouTube. Have a good night, everybody.